Part 34. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 337. The mission given to you will be directed by the old man. The mission prepared by Danzo Shimura is naturally a mission that will make Hikari fall into darkness step by step. Does the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen know about this matter? Hinata guessed that he didn't know. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for Danzo Shimura to explain the matter to him halfway on that day. Your mission tonight is. Danzo Shimura began to get to the point. This is also the first Umbu mission Hinata Hikaru is about to carry out. Go to the border of Kayan village. The B-level mission that Hinata Hikaru accepted last time was related to this mission. Defeating the Kusanagi is not the end, but a series of rings. This scared the four Cotters quite a bit. Although the grandson of one of the Cotters was killed by Hinata Hikari, there was nothing they could do. And what Shimura Danzo finally achieved. That is to let Kayan village obediently make monetary and material compensation. This makes the already economically backward Kayan village even worse. Why is Konoha so powerful but not destroying Kusakure village? Because they are still useful. Danzo Shimura was harvesting leeks in Kusakuin village in waves, and his abacus was clicking. You, and one of Loken's subordinates are responsible for escorting him. Quack. Hinata Hikari smiled happily. Umbu personnel usually operate under code names. Rat, without a doubt, is one of the weakest individuals among animals. It's no wonder that this guy only has the strength of an elite genin. According to Hinata Hikari's understanding, the strongest subordinate is called Tentiengan. A, B, C, D, E, G, Gang, Xin, Ren, Gui. After that, came the 12 earthly branches, a special force including Jounin and special Jounin. Zi, Zhou, Yin, Mao, Chen, Si, Wu, Wei, Shen, Yu, Su, Hai. The weakest one is also a special Jounin with special abilities. Except for the 10 heavenly stems and the 12 earthly branches, the rest are basically popular faces. What tiger, leopard, lion? Hinata's unabashed smile made the mouse's mouth twitch after suffering from her. It would be his shame to be defeated. Since he was no match for Hinata Hikaru, he could only swallow the sigh of relief. But most ninjas at their core are not good at facing enemies head-on. Rather, assassination, poisoning, kidnapping, all kinds of despicable methods are endless. Although Mouse is not as powerful as Hinata Hikaru, he believes that he can kill Hinata Hikari by using some insidious means. After giving the task, Shimura Danzo stopped talking. Hinata quickly turned around and walked out of the door. You're in the wrong place. Hinata Hikari. Then, Hinata's light left and came back, following the mouse from the shadow behind Shimura Danzo into the secret passage. Hinata entered the secret passage without any surprise. Her calmness made the mouse a little confused. Then, when he saw Hinata Hikari's exquisite and clear eyes, he realized something. The Hyuga clan has Byakugan. The ultimate distance of perspective can reach several kilometers. If there are fewer obstacles, the limit of 10 kilometers can be reached. So, Hinata Hikaru glanced at it with her white eyes when she was free, and she knew the tunnels here clearly. This is the advantage of daylight, and this is also the disadvantage. The reason why the top management of Konoha does not reuse the Hyuga clan is because they know too much. If it wasn't used to involve and play a great role in fighting against Uchiha, I'm afraid it would have been eliminated long ago. The Hyuga clan has always been good at pretending to be crazy and acting stupid. You know everything, but just by not saying it, you mean you don't know. You need to wear a mask. At the end of the passage, Rat reminded. Umbu personnel need to hide their identities. Oh. With the touch of Hinata Hikari's little hand, there was an extra mask. What? Do you have any opinions? Hinata Hikaru pinched her waist angrily and stared at the mouse. The rat, who looked resentful, could only turn around and express that he had no objection. That's right, behind the Hokage Rock. Behind him is the majestic Hokage Rock Mountains. In this way, the two embarked on the journey to Kayan village to hand over. This guy. Rat glanced at Hinata Hikari, who was following closely behind him. Perhaps out of dissatisfaction, or perhaps for other reasons, Rat had the idea of competing with Hinata Hikari. Oh, right. Hinata Hikaru said, "Two Blossoms, apologize. It doesn't matter, anyway, this leader can be promoted in the future, maybe the code name will become Monkey King Sun Xiangguang in the future." Rat didn't know what Hinata was thinking, he just wanted to make gestures with Hinata. Then. Oh. Gaga, I am Moses Roy. Hinata directly plagiarized Orochimaru's catchphrase, and then, accelerated. The mouse hadn't been proud for long before he heard Hinata's nervous voice. Then, in an instant, the speed of Hinata surpassed the mouse. I want to test my speed with my leader, but you are still a little green. Mouse. Quack, come up quickly, I don't want to wait for you. After Hinata Hikaru finished speaking, he rushed out like an arrow from a string. In an instant, he distanced himself from the rat. Aw. The rat suddenly went crazy. There is no way, Hinata's speed is too fast. At last. It was Hinata Hikaru who laughed strangely from time to time, and Rat who was panting and half dead. A journey of 12 hours to complete. 6 hours. She fled from Konoha to Kusagakura village. If the chapter is wrong, click here to report. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 338. Chapter 338. Phew, this leader is a little tired. Hinata Hikari pinched her waist and panted. Then, she took out her pocket watch to check the time. It is 11:59 p.m., the border of the land of grass. The natural environment here is pleasant, and the breeze is gentle. Although it is a bit cold, it is more comfortable for Hinata Hikari as a ninja. Hinata Hikari was dressed in white and wore a black stick on her back. Because she had been running all the way, she felt warm. The bright moonlight sprinkled down, and was seen by the white eyes. It was really a beautiful river and mountain. Hinata Hikari felt very relaxed and happy in her heart. However, the rat who was lying on the ground like a dead dog behind her, didn't feel very good. This little psychopath, why is he so energetic? Rat swore that he would never provoke Hinata Hikari again. Probably, he had never been so tired in his life, even in the death test of the route. After resting for a long time, Shu shivered and got up from the ground. He signaled that Hyuga Hikari should wait here while he went to negotiate with the people of Kusagakura village. Soon, Shu's figure disappeared on the hillside. Hyuga Hikari waited for about half an hour, and Shu came back. However, he looked rather embarrassed. Kusagakura village gave Shu a cart full of money. Shu pushed the cart all the way here. Didn't they give you a scroll? Hyuga Hikari asked curiously. Generally speaking, sealing materials requires huge scrolls that can be carried on the back. But what's the matter with this small cart used by ordinary people? Hey! Speaking of this, Shu gets angry. Kusagakura village is obviously dissatisfied with Shimura Danzo's compensation request. But, they dare not say it openly. So in the end, they vented their opinions on Shu. Our Kusagakura village is poor and backward, and we can't even afford the scrolls, so please use these two carts. Just like that, Mouse was sent away by the four cotters of Kusagakura. The cart is not bad either. Hinata nodded. Well, it feels like escorting a caravan. Hinata was very proud. Wasn't the mission given to her by Shimura Danzo this time to push this caravan back to Konoha? Pippi Mouse, let's go. JPG. Hinata shouted nervously. Mouse was stunned for a moment, then followed Hinata with a sigh. So, the two of them walked slowly on the border of the land of grass, and soon, they crossed this place and came to the other side. That is, the land of fire. Hinata only hoped to meet some bandits or outlaws on the road. At that time, she could show off her power and experience the feeling of escorting a caravan. In less than an hour, she really met one. In the dark night, shadows came one after another, surrounding the exhausted rat and the high-spirited Hikari Hyuga from all directions. Unfortunately, this time, was no different from the last time. The robbers in front of him were not the kind with strong backs, long beards, and evil faces. They were not the kind of green forest heroes who held 18 kinds of weapons, killed people without blinking an eye, but were also righteous. The robbers were pale and skinny. They looked like they had been hungry for at least 3 days and could be blown down by a gust of wind. The clothes on their bodies were even more tattered, and it was obvious that they had been fleeing for a long time. Hikari Hyuga was very disappointed. Last time, when he was on a mission with Minato Namikaze, Namatsu, and Jiraiya, he also ran into this kind of people, who were refugees at first glance. But since he had met them, it was impossible to pretend that nothing had happened. Ha! Hikari Hyuga grabbed the black stick behind him and jumped up suddenly. What? The hungry refugees stared at Hikaru Hinata flying into the sky. Is this a god? The next moment, Hikaru Hinata fell from the sky like a meteor. Take this master's stick. Hinata Hikaru swung the black stick that was soaked with murderous waves and ripple kagong. The solid black stick hit the ground. Boom! The explosion shook the earth. A big hole was knocked out of the ground by Hikaru Hinata. This shocked everyone. The refugees stared at each other, and then threw down the wooden forks, sticks, stones, etc. in their hands, knelt down one after another, and begged for forgiveness from Hikaru Hinata. Hinata Hikaru put away the black stick and stood with the stick. Then, after a mouthful of persuasion, everyone burst into tears. The refugees said that they would definitely change their past mistakes and never make the same mistake again. According to Hikaru Hinata's inquiry, they learned that they were refugees who had fled from the neighboring rain country. They heard that Kusagakura village was well connected and had alliances with various countries, so they decided to come to Kusagakura village for help. Hinata Hikari shook his head and told them that Kusagakura village was even poorer. The refugees were immediately desperate. They had finally fled here with their whole family, but they were still desperate. It seems, we can only starve to death in the end. As they said this, the refugees burst into tears and began to cry. Hinata Hikari waved his hands repeatedly, indicating that there was no need to despair. As the saying goes, when you are surrounded by mountains and rivers, you may think there is no way out, but when you are surrounded by willows and flowers, you will find another village. You go east from here, to the east is Long Country, which should be the safest place in the ninja world. In the Second Ninja World War, if there was any country that was immune to the consequences, it was naturally Long Village. Back then, after Kakuzu killed all the high-ranking officials of Long Village, the remaining ninjas of Long Village changed their stance and became the style of the Hidden World School. On the battlefield, you can't even see a ninja from Long Village. They rely on natural barriers, never leaving the main gate or the second gate. No matter how hard you fight outside, we don't care about our business. It can be said that they are more Buddhist than the Kingdom of Soup. It would be great if these refugees moved to the Kingdom of Long. You don't have money for the trip? No money to make a comeback? It doesn't matter, I have it here. Hinata Hikari waved his hand behind him. Wasn't there money on the cart? You can't do this. Rat knelt down to Hinata Hikari on the spot. This is, All this money is for Danzo-sama to use. Rat didn't know what Hinata Hikari was crazy about. If the mission failed and he returned empty-handed, it would be strange if Danzo-sama didn't tear him apart. However, Hinata Hikari didn't care so much. Get out of the way. Hinata Hikari kicked Rat away with one foot. Ah! The rat screamed and rolled into the ditch on the side of the road. Everyone gets one. Take your time. Hinata Hikari distributed money to the refugees one by one, so that everyone could start a new life. The refugees thanked Hinata Hikari profusely and called her the sage of the six paths in the world. She was a sage who saved people from suffering. Hinata Hikari waved her hand and said goodbye to the refugees. Seeing this scene, Hinata Hikari couldn't help but feel a lot of emotion in her heart. If the chapter is wrong, click here to report. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 339. Chapter 339. When people are born, they are good. There is no other way. Who wants to be a robber? Hinata Hikari's heart was filled with emotion and excitement. After all the refugees left, the rat crawled out of the stinking ditch with tears in his eyes. The money on the cart was divided up by Hinata Hikari. Of course, the more important thing is that the money should be used for the transportation of this mission. Under the mask, the rat opened his mouth and looked at the cart with a dull expression. Then he looked at Hinata Hikari again and blinked. I don't know what he thought of Hinata Hikari. A fool? A mental patient? A nice person? It's okay, don't worry. Hinata Hikari patted the rat to tell him not to worry. After returning, I will explain to old man Danzo. Hinata Hikari thought that she was the great leader of Tongtien, so Shimura Danzo should give her face, right? Except for shaking a few times when being slapped by Hyuga, Rat had been standing there stupidly, listening to Hyuga bragging about how great she was, as if he was in a trance. Until Rat knelt down to Hyuga with a plop. Rat knelt down, of course not to thank Hyuga for being such a good person. And please Hyuga, please resign from the umbu position and stop bullying us. It was not until today that Rat realized that Hyuga's brain circuits were completely different from theirs. This was not a matter of reasoning. The people in their two worlds could not talk to each other at all. It would be best if Hyuga never saw him again. What are you talking about? Hyuga patted Rat's shoulder. In fact, Rat was only about 12 or 13 years old, a teenager. So Hyuga could easily reach his shoulder. I will have to carry out many umbu missions in the future. There will definitely be many places where you will be needed. Don't be modest. Hinata's kind face, or rather a nervous smile, completely broke the mouse. Tisk. The mouse was furious and spat out a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, he was wearing a mask on his face, so it sprayed on his face in the end. Thump. He leaned back and fell directly on the cart. He must be too tired. Hinata said nervously and lifted the cart with his hands. I will be kind and push you away. Hinata pushed the cart and the unconscious mouse on the cart. Just like that, Hinata hummed a tune and returned to Konoha. 10 hours later, Konoha Umbu entrance. After listening to the report of the mouse, Shimura Danzo's mouth kept twitching. What should he say to Hinata Hikari? Scold her? Or get angry and ask her to leave the umbu? No. Not at all. Years of self-control have made Shimura Danzo calm, like a calm lake. Of course, Hinata Hikari smashed down the big rock. After taking a deep breath, Shimura Danzo nodded. I'll see how things go in a few days. I'll assign you a second mission. The money is gone. As long as we can get a little skin off the Kuzagakura village and make them behave, that's enough. For the sake of the long term, Shimura Danzo decided not to pursue Hinata Hikari's responsibility. Just when he felt that he had a broad mind and a big heart, Hinata Hikari's next words almost choked Shimura Danzo. "Where is the mission reward for me?" Hinata stretched out her hand. Shimura Danzo was shocked on the spot. "Still need a reward? Still want mission rewards? Don't you think this is infuriating? Just tell me if this is infuriating. We'll settle together next time." Although he almost choked on his breath, Shimura Danzo said this calmly. But Hyuga Hikari was not going to do it. "I don't like delayed wages. Now you have to pay me off, otherwise I'm not going to do it." Hyuga Hikari looked up at the ceiling, as if he would leave if you didn't pay me. Shimura Danzo clenched his fists, then opened them again, and repeated this, until the cane in his hand creaked. Ratgang stared at Hyuga Hikari with a dumbfounded look on his face, as if he had seen a god. This little psychopath, is she still human? This face, must be thicker than the 5th level Rashomon of S level. Go and take her to get the reward. Shimura Danzo waved his hand. On the surface, he agreed to give Hikaru Hyuga a mission reward, but in fact, he was afraid that he could not help but fail, so he scolded Hikaru. "Even fight?" Seeing this, Shu hurriedly asked Hikaru to let us leave quickly. "Well, that's better. Hinata waved his sleeves, turned around, took a step, and left here quickly. After coming out of the Umbu entrance, Hikaru Hyuga followed Shu and walked directly to another street. "Where are you going?" Shu was completely convinced now. This master of Hikaru Hyuga must be served well. Otherwise, she will definitely make something big for you. Humph. Hinata snorted coldly, and her little hand trembled. Looking at the rising sun in the morning, he said loudly, "Why should I explain to you what I have done throughout my life?" After saying this, Hyuga Hikari walked away in a trance. He wanted to cry but had no tears, so he looked around and looked around again. Finally, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and use the transformation technique to follow. When he met Hyuga Hikari, he had become an ordinary passerby. Hyuga Hikari walked into the bustling shopping street and found a restaurant at random. "Boss, the most expensive dish in your restaurant. It must be delicious." The boss recognized Hyuga Hikari when he saw her trans face. "Oh, grass, isn't this Hyuga family a little psychopath?" Hyuga Hikari is a celebrity, although many people don't know her, but they can always recognize her. "What are you planning to do?" Obviously, the boss, after hearing the rumor that Hyuga Hikari was a little bully, immediately went over to greet her in person. "Of course, eat. Stop talking nonsense and serve the food." Hinata Hikari slapped the table, and a handprint appeared on the table immediately. It was as if a martial arts master had penetrated the table with his heart. Oops. The boss was frightened. Two guests in total. He quickly asked the waiter and the chef to prepare food for Hinata Hikari. "Wait. Hinata Hikari waved his hand and called the boss. "Boss, can you issue an invoice for reimbursement?" The boss was a little confused, but he still heard the word reimbursement. Yes. He nodded hastily. "Well, hurry up and serve the food, don't let me wait too long. Hinata Hikari waved his hand nervously and drove the boss away. "Can you issue an invoice for reimbursement?" Hinata Hikari was very satisfied. After the bill is settled, she can directly take the invoice to collect the mission reward and reimburse the public expenses, and then all the expenses will be charged to the old man Shimura Danzo. Hinata Hikari thought. She is now treated like a public servant. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 340. Your reading butler is online. Go to major stores and search for Quayan Kanchu to get it. RAN. I hummed your grandma. The escaping man ran away anxiously, but in his heart he cursed the eunuch behind him. This man was Wang Ying, the short-legged tiger who broke out in Zheyi Fanzi. At this moment, he was panicking and ran to nowhere in the mountains and forests direction. But he always had to find a way. Wang Ying felt that marrying Hu Sunyang was the greatest luck in his life, so no matter what, as long as there was a glimmer of hope, he would give it a try. Shorty, keep running, Seijiya still wants to torment you slowly. Hidefu's voice came from the darkness behind, along with the messy and numerous footsteps. Wang Ying's round face was covered with sweat. Gritting his teeth, he stood up and ran again. The silk shirt on his body was already soaked. Just when he couldn't hold on anymore, in a hazy state of consciousness, his legs, which were as heavy as lead, ran for a while and descended a small slope. He vaguely heard some vibrations on the ground under his feet. Suddenly, he woke up and saw the shadows in the forest on the opposite side. It looks like there are many soldiers and horses. We must have reached the foot of Liangshan mountain, and one of the brothers from the mountain must have come down from the opposite side. In the darkness, he rushed over like crazy, and suddenly the torches in the forest lit up. The person in front had a leopard head with ringed eyes, a long beard, riding a black horse, and holding a snake spear 8 feet long in his hand. He immediately said with great joy, "Brother Lin Chong, I am Wang Ying, help me quickly." "Save me, ba." "No, go and save Sunyang, she was captured by a eunuch." The team in the forest was indeed Lin Chong. He and Huarong split up to rush for reinforcements. At this time, they heard the sound of someone running before they ambushed them. However, they did not expect to encounter the bantam tiger Wang Ying here. Sunyang, who was really caught, Lin Chong stared at him, surprised. Wang Ying gasped and let out a "Hey, brother Lin Chong, when did I, Wang Ying, make fun of women? The eunuch is still chasing me, right over there." The figure swayed away. "What?" Lin Chong let out a light sigh, and then said, "Well done." Then he raised his snake spear and collided with the black shadow rushing towards the forest. Then the snake spear's sprint turned into a horizontal slash. The man's hands were very fast, and he grabbed the front part of the snake spear shaft. His body sank, and his legs standing on the horse's head. "Get off!" Lin Chong suddenly became angry and sank down along the human path. He clamped the horse's belly with his feet, and the Wuzai horse stood up fiercely. He struggled to use his arms to stand on the horse's back, raised the snake spear in his hand, and lifted the horse into the air. The man was completely thrown into the air. Lin Chong jumped up on horseback, thrust the tip of his spear upwards 3 times, raised it high again, and smashed down on the man with all his strength. The shaft seemed to be rubbing against the man, but it didn't seem to be. With a bang, the snake spear hit the ground, and a rock protruding from the ground was smashed to pieces. The man flipped through the air and fell to the ground. His figure stumbled in the darkness and almost fell. "He is injured." Lin Chong immediately drew his spear and swiped it directly. The man no longer dared to confront him head-on and quickly dodged away. At this time, a group of hundreds of people in soap clothes rushed over with torches. Wang Ying found a spear from nowhere, rode on his horse, and shouted, "Brother, don't panic. Wang Ying is here, brothers, come up and kill all those eunuchs." While shouting, the two groups of people collided with each other. In the chaos, no one was familiar with the other, and they divided into 2 or 3 groups to fight. In the dark forest, the sound of shouting and killing spread, and waving weapons could be seen everywhere. The figure with the sword is vague, and the sound of the swords clashing is endless. Suddenly, there was a noise on the other side of the forest, and then there was the faint light of a torch falling on the ground. Hidefu saw a white horse rushing over 200 or 300 paces away. It was dressed in silver armor and a white robe, with the general with the silver gun suddenly moved in his hand. Running, setting an arrow, and drawing the bow all at once. Because Tianan could not see clearly the trajectory of the arrows and could only hear the sound of the wind, Hidefu immediately rolled on the spot and jumped again. Where he had just passed, 3 arrows were inserted in a row. At this moment, it must be the person who shot the arrow just now. Lin Chong is so difficult to deal with, and with a helping hand with superb archery skills, he will definitely not be able to defeat him. Thinking of this, Hidefu called the people still alive and retreated immediately. At this time, from further away, a long dragon with torches came. Hidefu saw the person in front, but he recognized the sword in that man's hand. He immediately shouted, "Seijia Hidefu, Lin Chong and Huarong are here." The voice passed. The man was faster, and the other man was a little slower, but he led hundreds of people to rush straight towards Lin Chong. The man behind held up an octagonal copper stick and shouted in a deep voice, "Lin Chong, do you still remember to wish me good luck? Is it Luan Tingyu from the family village?" He rushed into the melee on horseback, stabbed a few times, and then quickly called his men to retreat towards the water bank. In the darkness, a gun head. In the chaos, he approached Huarong and quickly thrust in, pulled out, thrust in again, and pulled out again. In the midst of severe pain and shock, Huarong covered his wound and tilted his gaze. He vaguely heard a familiar voice, "I'm sorry." As for that man, he only saw his back, and he got mixed up in the chaos. Then, he fell off the horse, and his blurred vision gradually appeared light. In the eastern sky, there was a fish belly white color, and the misty light shone down from there. P.S. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 341. Please search Book Reading God Station on WeChat to prevent loss, and follow it to avoid getting lost. Off topic. 83. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 342. Chapter 342. Your reading butler is online. Go to major stores and search for Kueyan Kanchu to get it. From that time on, my concepts of learning subjects became very solid. From that time on, I gradually transformed from a math scumbag to a math master. Thanks to Gufeng, I am now a public figure in the class, and I spend a lot less effort on homework. It's easy to do the questions. This is the effect I long for. My parents also knew about it, and they were both happy for me. When I saw their smiling faces, I felt as sweet as honey. Today, 1 year later, I have thought about Ruohan for a long time, and I really don't want to think about it anymore. It's already 1 o'clock sharp at midnight. Go to sleep, don't be unable to get up the next day. 3 months later, the high school entrance examination was over, and I got a relatively good score. I was so happy that I almost flew to the sky. Until I found out that Lily and my other sisters didn't get into the same school and parted ways because I couldn't be happy anymore. How sad it is to get into a good university but your friends are not around. We, a group of sisters, have been friends for 3 years. We have spent many colorful days and boring studies. Only with them can we find comfort. Suddenly, because of a goal, we have to separate. Don't you feel it's a pity? What a pity, why not? No matter how important the goal in front of me is, 12 years of campus life and study have been all for this. Without friends to spend time joking with, I will face another new circle. I used to always complain about these sisters, but it wasn't until they were separated that I realized how important the other party was to me. I don't want our group of sisters to be disbanded forever because of this so-called future. The future is still unknown. There is no need to eagerly sacrifice too many things now for the future, at least, keep an important part. Sacrifice now will only leave an imperfect memory in the future, and in the end, you will not get a complete memory. Just think of a game, don't want to play it, force yourself to play it, what's the fun in it? Sacrificing something that you don't want to sacrifice is not your own wish, and you won't be able to enjoy it to the fullest. When you finally look back, you will only be left with regrets, and maybe nothing else. I don't know why, but there was a shadow in my heart, urging me to call them. Lily, everyone, please don't cut off contact when we are separated, okay? Lily seemed to be a little confused by my sudden words. For it. I really don't want to be separated from you. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 343. Please search Book Reading God Station on WeChat to prevent loss, and follow it to avoid getting lost. Night falls, and the time is approaching midnight. New Moon Profound Palace also became completely quiet. Yun-Che did not fall asleep. After he continued to meditate for a while, he finally recovered his profound strength to about half, opened his eyes, and sank his consciousness into the sky poison pearl. The world in front of him suddenly turned emerald green. He was about to look for the Sichuan pill he got from Lansweruo, but as soon as he took a step, he stopped there. He was stunned as he looked at the picture in front of him. The urban version of the hero, the latest chapter of Invincible. In the boundless green world, a pink girl dressed in red is lying quietly on her side with her eyes closed. She seemed to be insecure. Her body was curled up and her legs were bent. She was like a sleeping kitten. There was no coldness or murderous intent, only a kind of tenderness that made people want to hold her in their arms and love her tenderly. Yun-Che's footsteps stopped there, not moving forward, and then retreated silently. When he came in again, he had a thin blanket in his arms. Walking softly to Jasmine's side, Yun-Che gently bent down. Jasmine was still sleeping soundly. She was currently unable to use any profound energy. She had completely let down her guard in this completely independent space, so she did not notice his approach. The most time she spent in the sky poison pearl was sleeping, and I actually forgot to prepare a soft enough bed for her. Yun-Che thought with some self-reproach, and gently spread out the blanket. Looking at Jasmine up close is a complete visual enjoyment. Because she is so cute. The little face is young and delicate, with crystal clear features, picturesque eyebrows, a complexion like snow, and long eyelashes as thin as cicada wings. They tremble up and down with the even breathing. The whole little face is adorable and at the same time has an aura that makes it charming. Breathtaking beauty. Her blood-red hair was spread out on the ground, almost blending into her luxurious red clothes. Her jade face and red lips, pink lotus-white arms, and snow-white legs like milk under the skirt are even more touching. Her young figure is even more graceful under the outline of her skirt. This red fairy dress was extremely expensive and beyond the reach of ordinary girls, but when worn on Jasmine, it was indescribably harmonious. It seemed that only this extremely luxurious decoration could be worthy of Jasmine's inadvertently revealed noble temperament, and worthy of her status as a princess. Yun-Che couldn't help but squat there and looked at her for a long time, not wanting to look away. Her delicate white nose moved slightly with her breathing, and there was a small pool of saliva hanging from the corner of her pink mouth. The tip of her right index finger was unconsciously held in her slightly opened lips. Her sleeping appearance is no different from that of an ordinary girl. It should be said that she is still a little girl. However, her overly curled up body showed that she was more insecure than ordinary girls. Gently, Yun-Che pulled up the spread blanket and covered Jasmine's body. As if feeling the blanket covering her body, Jasmine's eyelashes trembled slightly, and then she opened her hazy eyes little by little. Yun-Che's hand stopped in the air, and he smiled awkwardly. Just as he was thinking about what to say, he saw Jasmine's eyes becoming more and more blurred, and gradually, they were covered with a thin layer of mist. Elder brother. Her eyes were looking at Yun-Che through the mist, and her mouth was murmuring like a dream. Yun-che opened his mouth. Although Jasmine opened her eyes, she obviously did not wake up completely, and she thought he was a person in a dream. Elder brother? Did she dream about her dead brother? A small snow-white hand stretched out and gently grasped his hand. Jasmine looked at him in confusion, her voice filled with a heartbreaking sadness. Brother, you came to Jasmine's dream again, have you visited Jasmine? Yun-che kept his whole body still, not knowing whether he should speak or not. At this time, he saw the mist in Jasmine's eyes finally condensed into teardrops, slowly sliding down her fair cheeks. At the same time, her hazy eyes began to become clearer and brighter. A strong force came from his hand, pushing him to the ground. And Jasmine had already stood up, her beautiful eyes filled with the icy coldness that Yun-che was familiar with, but the teardrops seemed to have escaped the owner's notice, and were still hanging on her pink cheeks. You come in and do it? What? I'll give you a blanket. Yun-che stood up and lifted the blanket in his hand. Then he said with a smile, but it seems that I accidentally disturbed your sweet dream. Well, in the past few days, I will prepare the most comfortable princess bed for you. I have always ignored this matter. No need, Jasmine refused. This is a must. I often sleep on the ground, and I know how uncomfortable it is to sleep on the ground. I am a rich man now, and I can still afford a comfortable bed. Yun-che shook it and didn't know where to find it. Zijinka said with a proud look on his face. Jasmine didn't talk about it again, whether it was acquiescence or disdain. She tightened her face and asked coldly, what are you going to do when you come in? Isn't it just to give me a blanket? Well, there is indeed another thing. Yun-che narrowed his eyes slightly. You were sleeping just now, so you probably didn't know that the Xiao sect actually came to see me, and also brought me a big news. Since the Xiao sect has come to trouble me and has been rude in return, of course I have to repay a big gift. What are you going to do? It's very simple. Yun-che smiled mysteriously. He opened his palms, and in them lay the Sichuan pill he had received from Lan Sueruo, and the Wangxian dragon pill from Yanlong. This method can only be achieved by relying on the sky poison pearl. In order to ensure perfection, it's best to do it inside the sky poison pearl. After it's completed, it will be absolutely seamless. The time is getting closer to midnight. The main entrance of New Moon Profound Palace was destroyed, so there were a few more disciples keeping vigil. By this time, there were only a few people entering and leaving the New Moon Profound Palace. At this time, a Suanfu disciple dressed in black yawned as he walked towards the gate of Suanfu. As he approached, he said, hello, Brother Jean, Junior Brother Fang, we are keeping vigil. Thank you for your hard work. Hey! Junior Brother Li, where are you going in the middle of the night? The man called Senior Brother Jean shouted. Well, let's go out and buy something. Going out to buy things in the middle of the night? Hee, they are all men, no one knows who they are, another person said with a thief smile. The disciples who were watching the night suddenly burst into laughter, and another person lowered his voice and said, there are not many beauties in this Xian palace. It is completely understandable for a young man to stay alone in an empty room in the middle of the night, hungry and thirsty, and go out to have fun. If Junior Brother Li is going to Piao Piao, when you go shopping in Hualu, remember to state my name, maybe you can get a % discount. You. Don't tell anyone I went out tonight. Understood, we all understand. With eyes and laughter that all men understood, Junior Brother Li walked out of the New Moon Profound Palace in a swagger. As soon as he went out, a few eyes in the dark quickly glanced at him several times, and then looked back. There are very few pedestrians on the streets of Crescent City, and most of the shops are closed. Junior Brother Li hummed some clichés he heard from nowhere, heading south, and soon he was submerged in the night. After a while, another middle-aged man wearing a black cloak and a face-covering hat with a cold and stiff face walked out of the night, walking in a straight line with heavy footsteps in the direction of the Black Moon Chamber of Commerce. The latest chapter of the Hell Art Museum. The Black Moon Chamber of Commerce is open hours a day, even at night. To prevent accidents, owners of some valuable items often choose to trade at the Black Moon Chamber of Commerce in the dead of night. This was the second time Yun-Che entered the Black Moon Chamber of Commerce. He was dressed the same as when he first came in. There were also no other customers in the store, except for a man in his early 30s standing behind the counter. And it looked like he was still the teller he saw last time. Hearing footsteps walking in, the teller didn't raise his head, and said with a dead expression, "Buy or sell." "Call your shopkeeper out," Yun-Che said, his voice cold and stiff. The teller then raised his head and was about to speak when he suddenly saw clearly the clothes and face of the middle-aged man in front of him. After a brief pause, he jumped up from the chair like a spring and said in a panic, "Your Honor, please wait a moment. Call the shopkeeper out immediately." After saying that, the teller ran upstairs in panic. Without letting Yun-Che wait for too long, he hurriedly walked down while arranging his clothes. When he saw Yun-Che, his expression tightened, and then he hurriedly came up to greet him. He greeted him from all the way. "It turns out that this is a distinguished guest, he. I just went to bed and made my guest wait for so long. It is really a big sin. I wonder if your guest is here late at night. Is there any shop that can help? I want you to do me a favor." Yun-Che stretched out his left hand and spread it in front of he. When he's eyes fell on the palm of his hand, a red Suandan pill suddenly appeared out of thin air. "I want you to buy this King Xianlong pill." Seeing the mysterious pill appearing out of thin air in Yun-Che's hand, he's whole body trembled, and his teeth almost trembled uncontrollably. He could clearly see that Yun-Che was not wearing a space ring on his hand, and the mysterious pill just appeared indeed out of thin air. In this situation, there is only one possibility. He once heard that when one reaches the sovereign profound realm, one can use powerful profound strength to open up a small space that belongs only to oneself with bare hands. In this way, there is no need to wear a space ring at all. Things can be stored directly in your own small space, and you never have to worry about being stolen. The mysterious elixir of the person in front of me was clearly taken out of the void just now. Could it be that this person's cultivation level has, already, Junxian realm? That is the top existence in the world that can only be found at the level of the Holy Domain and Sea Palace. Could this terrifying person really come from there? At such a level, it can be said that it would be effortless to destroy the entire Blue Wind Empire by one person. He is definitely not a timid person. On the contrary, he has experienced countless storms in his life and has rich experience. But facing a top expert in the world who is very likely to be at the Jungsuan realm, even if his state of mind is 10 times stronger, it is impossible to remain calm, and he can't even speak. "Dear guest. It's not that Pu doesn't want to buy this king's mysterious dragon pill. This king's mysterious dragon pill is a priceless treasure. I have dreamed of buying it. But the shop is just a small branch of the Black Moon Chamber of Commerce, and I really can't afford enough money. I only want Zixuan coins." Yun-Che slapped the Wangxian dragon pill on the counter and said coldly. What? 50,000 Zixuan coins." Pu's eyes widened, his lips trembled, and he almost thought there was something wrong with his ears. 50,000 Zixuan coins is undoubtedly an astronomical figure. This is a total of million Huangxian coins. Enough to support a wealthy family for more than 10 lifetimes. But at this price, one can barely afford a low-grade Tianxian pill in Blue Wind Continent. As for the Wangxian pill, it is impossible to buy it even for Zixuan coins, let alone Zixuan coins. In the entire Crescent City, there are extremely few items that can be sold for 50,000 Zixuan coins. And a Wangxian dragon pill sells for Zixuan coins, but it's like giving it away for free. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 344. Please search Book Reading God Station on WeChat to prevent loss, and follow it to avoid getting lost. The fight between Lee Mo and Fen Yu can only be described as miserable. In the 7-move competition, Lee Mo used 7 sword moves in a row, and then somersaulted 7 times in a row. The sword in his hand never touched the corner of Fen Yu's clothes. Fen Yu's profound strength level was a full 7 levels higher than Lee Mo's, and there was a huge gap in the middle. He seemed to have forgotten, or perhaps didn't care at all, that this was a combat strength test, and he used his own profound strength to crush the entire process. With a slight smile clearly on his face, as if he was enjoying this feeling of wanton trampling. After 7 moves, Lee Mo's clothes were in tatters. He fell 7 times in a row and suffered minor injuries in many places. 7 moves have been passed, stop, Instructor Chi said, and then looked at Lee Mo and said, I am a little timid when I use the moves, but my control of the mysterious force is pretty good, so I can barely pass. Tomorrow morning, you can come to the outer palace to report. Ah, Lee Mo whispered, then revealed a face of ecstasy. In the ecstasy, he even forgot about the pain on his body. He was so happy that he bowed to Teacher Chi again and again. Thank you, teacher, for making it possible. Thank you, teacher complete. After thanking him profusely, Lee Mo left happily in the envious eyes of other mystical practitioners. Next, Chen Yu. The treatment of the second assessor was not much better than that of Lee Mo. He was hit by Fen Yu as soon as he came up. After 7 moves, his nose was bruised and his face was swollen. As the combat strength assessment progressed, the assessors behind became more and more frightened, because the fate of those who went up to fight Fen Yu could be said to be worse than the last. Many of them had watched the assessments of the past few days. Most of the senior brothers who were opponents never fought back. Instead, they allowed the examiners to use their mysterious power to their heart's content during defense. The occasional counterattacks only shook the opponents away. But this Fen Yu was merciless in every move. They competed with each other in 7 moves. The examiner used 7 moves, and he also counterattacked with 7 moves, and almost every move would cause injury to the opponent. It's not as if he's here to assist in the assessment, but rather he's here to enjoy the thrill of showing off his power and crushing you. And this state didn't change until Ayan went up. After Aoyan went up, he immediately released his profound energy to a large extent. Under the astonishing momentum of the wind and clouds, the first move actually forced Fen Yu back a small step, causing a large number of cheers and exclamations around him. After 7 moves, Ayan dealt with it very calmly. Not to mention being injured, he was not even repelled by Fen Yu once. Oh, very good. After completing the 7 moves, Fen Yu nodded with a smile and said to the old man, Teacher Chi, this is a rare genius. Not only is his level of profound strength good, but he is also superb in controlling and exerting it. He can to reach this level at this age can be said to be unique. Senior brother, that's ridiculous, Aoyan said with a fearful look on his face, but his eyes were filled with pride at Huajiqibing. It is indeed a rare talent. Ayan, you have also passed. Come to Suanfu tomorrow to report. Instructor Chi nodded. Yun Che moved his brows and sneered silently. The eye contact between Aoyan and Fen Yu was really intriguing. Thank you, Master Chi. Ayan bowed calmly. As he walked off the stage and passed by Fen Yu, he said quickly in a very low voice, Cousin, help me teach Yun Xiaofan and Yun Che a lesson, make them look as ugly as possible. Tonight the Emperor Du Shiba Flower House, it's up to you to choose. Fen Yu's eyes suddenly lit up, and he slowly stretched out his tongue and licked his lips, with a sinister smile on his lips. Next, Yun Xiaofan. Phew, it's finally my turn, Yun Xiaofan whispered nervously. Be careful, this Fen Yu is not a good guy, Yun Che warned in a low voice. Yes, I will be careful, Yun Xiaofan nodded, raised his mysterious energy, jumped up to the high platform and stood in front of Fen Yu. Senior brother Fen Yu, please give me some advice. Oh? Yun Xiaofan, looking at the childish boy in front of him, Fen Yu's eyes began to become playful and dangerous. He smiled faintly and said, "Looking at your age, you should be only 15 years old. What a pity, come on, let me see how much you weigh." The words "it's such a pity" in Fen Yu's mouth confused Yun Xiaofan. He didn't dare to say anything more. He crossed his hands in front of him, and the profound energy surged throughout his body. On his palms, there were two purple balls. The lightning slowly condensed and crackled. "Hey, there is actually a thunder element mysterious skill, not bad." Fen Yu stretched out his right hand casually and said with a smile. "Ben Thunder Palm." Yun Xiaofan put his palms together, used his family's thunder-type mystical skills, and collided head-on with Fen Yu. Yun Xiaofan's profound strength is only at the second level of the nascent mysterious realm, which is a full 11th level behind Fen Yu. His attack is definitely extraordinary among mystical practitioners of the same level, but it does not pose any threat to Fen Yu in the slightest. Just before Yun Xiaofan approached Fen Yu's figure suddenly swayed and took the initiative to get closer to Yun Xiaofan. He easily knocked away his protective black power with his elbow and hit him hard. The moment he hit his chest, there was an imperceptible grin on his face. Click. A clear sound of bone breaking sounded in everyone's ears. The lightning concentrated in Yun Xiaofan's hands dissipated instantly, and his body flew backwards far away like a thrown sandbag. He spurted a mouthful of blood in the air and fell heavily outside the stage. There was an uproar all around, and everyone's eyes widened in shock at this unexpected scene. Yun Che's face darkened and he quickly rushed to Yun Xiaofan. Yun Xiaofan was lying on the ground, his face was pale, his lips were full of blood, 3 ribs on his left chest were broken, and he could no longer stand up from the ground. The anger in Yun Che's heart suddenly emerged. He turned to Fen Yu and said in a deep voice, "Fen Yu, this is just an assessment, but you actually dealt with such a heavy hand." Fen Yu spread his hands and showed an innocent expression. "I didn't know his profound strength was so low. I saw that he had thunder-type profound skills, so I thought he was very resistant to fighting. It turns out, tisk tisk, it's really disappointing." People are disappointed. Ao Yan on the other side grinned and sneered, "Yun Xiaofan, this is the price for your rude words to me." Then the next one is Yun Che. "How dare you steal my limelight? I want you to never enter the Blue Wind Profound Palace in your lifetime." "Fen Yu, you hit too hard, Blood Paladin." Instructor Chi also frowned and said sternly. It's true that the disciple didn't know what to do. Fen Yu turned to Master Chi and said, "However, the disciple has no regrets. In this mysterious palace, one of the fastest ways to improve one's profound strength is to fight against strong men. It's a completely normal thing. Although it was a bit of a mistake, it just happened to allow them to recognize and adapt to this earlier. Compared with the injuries our Zongfu disciples suffered during the sparring, his injuries are nothing at all. Even if you can't bear this kind of injury, then you are not qualified to enter our Blue Wind Profound Palace." Instructor Chi frowned, but said nothing. "Haha, I'm really glad you have the nerve to speak so high-sounding." Seeing the sneer on Ao Yan's face, and thinking of the unusual look between them before, Yun Che still didn't understand anything. This was clearly Ayan's revenge on Yun Xiaofan through Fen Yu's help, just because Yun Xiaofan had scolded him before. Since he has taken revenge on Yun Xiaofan, he will definitely not be left behind. Just as he was about to speak, a trembling hand suddenly rested on his. Yun Xiaofan gritted his teeth and tried hard to sit up, making a painful sound. "Brother Yun, I'm fine, the assessment is not over yet, I'm fine, it's fine." During the struggle, Yun Xiaofan's upper body was forced to sit up. His internal organs were injured and 3 ribs were broken. To complete this action, he did not know how much perseverance he needed and how much pain he endured. The moment he sat up, Yun Che clearly saw 2 lines of hot tears flowing out of his eyes, because he understood that in his current situation, it was simply impossible for him to continue to participate in the assessment. Being unable to participate in the assessment meant that he would not be able to enter Blue Wind Profound Palace. His dream and the expectations of everyone in the family would all be shattered. How could he not be heartbroken and shed tears? Xiao Fan, the cause of this accident is not you, so there is no reason for you to be deprived of the qualification to enter the Blue Wind Profound Palace. Don't move around now, otherwise your body will be destroyed, and you will really have no chance to enter the palace. Yun Che pressed down Yun Xiaofan's upper body as he tried to sit up, took out a heaven-returning pill and put it into his mouth, then stepped forward and jumped in front of Feng Yu. My name is Yun Che, and this time, I am here to accept your assessment. Yun Che's voice was calm, his eyes were as calm as water, and there was no trace of emotion at all. Oh? So you are Yun Che, the number one in this group of profound strength tests. Feng Yu looked Yun Che up and down and narrowed his eyes. He didn't seem to care at all about Yun Xiaofan's serious injury just now. That's right, Yun Che said calmly. Before we start, I have a question to confirm with you. You just said that in Blue Wind Profound Palace, it is normal to be seriously injured due to sparring, right? Then if I accidentally hurt you, do I not need to take any responsibility? As soon as Yun Che said these words, everyone was stunned. Feng Yu was also stunned, and then laughed loudly. You hurt me? Ha ha, ha 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 ha. This is simply the loudest thing I have heard this year. It's a joke. Okay, very good. People who are so confident are really rare. Then just try to hurt me, let alone hurt me. Even if you kill me, it's still your ability. Absolutely yes, no one will blame you. Ha 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 ha. After saying the last sentence, he felt so funny that he couldn't help but laugh again. Then I'm relieved. Yun Che smiled slightly, his eyes gradually becoming sharper. Then what are you waiting for? Let's get started. Feng Yu crossed his arms and looked at Yun Che as if he were looking at an idiot. He said arrogantly and disdainfully, since you are so delusional about hurting me, then I will give you an opportunity. I will stand still here and let you attack me with 3 moves. If I move or get injured, I will walk backwards where you are from now on. If I stand still and you can't hurt me with 3 moves, just get out of this Blue Wind Profound Palace obediently, and before you get out, I might even give you a big gift. Yun Che's originally solemn eyebrows relaxed. He nodded the tip of his nose and said with a half smile, are you sure? I-1387. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 345. Therefore, the ninjutsu used to increase the amount of chakra looks extremely powerful. It is obviously just 2C level ninjutsu, but it has the power of B level ninjutsu. With such a powerful combined ninjutsu, he suddenly rushed towards Hinata Hikari. The flames reflected Hikari's delicate face, and her hair blown by the storm flew back. Facing this powerful ninjutsu, Hinata Hikari smiled and raised his right palm. Killing intention fluctuation collapsing palm. 1 palm. 2 meters in front of him, the scarlet vortex twisted and collided with Namikaze Minato's combined ninjutsu. Boom. The firestorm exploded instantly. Like a wine glass hit by a stone, the firestorm collapsed, shattered, and was annihilated. Incredible power swept through this linked ninjutsu, until the roar of the air returned to calm, the flames and storm subsided, and the ninjutsu dissipated into the invisible. After the extreme movement, there is the ultimate silence. It took a long time before Yesong's surprised voice reached their ears. Success. As an observer standing from the side, Yesong completely observed the entire process. Including the powerful joint ninjutsu released by Namikaze Minato, Hinata Hikari smashed it with an incredible palm. He actually only used 1 palm of 1 hand. According to Namatsu's idea, Hinata should at least use both palms. Even if you use both palms, it will still seem a bit overwhelming, so using ninjutsu for defense is the best choice. However, I never expected that Hinata Hikaru could actually fight against Namikaze Minato's enhanced joint ninjutsu with one palm. Fire release and flame bullet, since it is Jiraiya Sensei's move, it must have something special about it. In fact it is. The difference between fire release and flame bullet and other fire release ninjutsu is that when it is released, the bulging cheeks are accompanied by the sound of liquid flowing. This is because chakra is converted into toad oil in the mouth. The strongest sea-level fire escape ninjutsu that was improved based on the Sage Mode training of Mount Myaboku. So in fact, Namikaze Minato's combined ninjutsu is a triple combination of toad oil and fire escape and wind release. This setting comes from Naruto's official formula book, the Book of Masters, page 234, the second half of the page, the description of the second ninjutsu, fire release and flame bullet. Snapped. The sound of something breaking. In the shocked eyes of Namatsu and Namikaze Minato, Hinata Hikaru's arm suddenly appeared a small wound. It was like being cut by an invisible knife. Blood dripped down at his feet, dyeing the ground a dazzling red. Namikaze Minato opened his eyes wide and ran over quickly. The fact that the ninjutsu was defeated was completely forgotten by Namikaze Minato. What's more important now is obviously Hinata's injury. How's it going? Hinata Hikari-san. Namikaze Minato observed Hinata's arm very nervously. It's okay. Hinata nodded. Quack. There is a price to pay for taking shortcuts. This is in line with the theorem. Hinata Hikaru was not surprised at all by such a situation. The strength of the body cannot keep up with the growth of the killing intent. In an instant, Namikaze Minato judged the cause. Originally, the fluctuations in killing intent and physical strength complemented each other and influenced each other. Unilaterally increasing the fluctuations of killing intent can only increase the load on the body cells and meridians at the output end. But, thanks to the Ape Demon Fist, my leader's body is very strong. Because he insisted on practicing the Ape Demon Fist, Hikaru Hinata had just exerted his murderous intent wave with all his strength, but his blood vessels were only slightly damaged. The unique physical technique of the Monkey Demon Fist has made Hinata's body extremely strong. In other words, if he hadn't practiced the Ape Demon Fist, his whole hand would have exploded. Namikaze Minato nodded, and then he gently held Hinata's right hand with his hands. Breath, ripple, another use of this power. Along with Namikaze Minato's rhythmic breathing, golden lightning was generated on his hands. It was obviously golden, but it made a sound like thunder escape. In an instant, golden lightning spread throughout Hinata's right arm. After that, Hinata's right arm can move. Hinata shook his hand. Not only did it no longer hurt, but the open wound was healed. Although the blood flowing out was scary before, now, there is no problem at all. This is Ripple Kigong. Namikaze Minato can not only play support, but can also be a wet nurse. Their team is a fairly well-equipped team. Capture, frontal attack, sneak attack, milk, whatever you want, you will get. This is also the reason why Namikaze Minato hides his clumsiness. Ninjutsu that can compete with A-level medical ninjutsu is not that rare. Many talented ninjas can unleash A-level palm senjutsu during their genin period. Such as Nohara Lin. Ninjas who are talented in medical ninjutsu are usually transferred to the medical class after becoming Chuyunin. In the medical class, there are many people who can use palm magic. But the point is, in the history of Konoha, there was only one ninja with such a quick and convenient method of healing. Tsunade is the granddaughter of the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. This is amazing. Once people know Namikaze Minato's talent, then some people will inevitably force him. Danzo Shimura. The shadowy old man's figure flashed before Yesong's eyes. Harmfulness is not allowed, and defensiveness is indispensable. Hikaru Hinata-san, What should we do next? Minato Namikaze asked. He was referring to Hinata Hikari's training. Quack. Of course, continue to practice. Under the watchful eyes of Namikaze, Minato and Namatsu, Hinata went to the creek to wash away the blood stains on her arms. After that, she began to practice Ape Demon Fist in the back mountain. The Monkey Demon Fist was used over and over again by Hinata Hikaru, cooperating with the fluctuating killing intent. But this time, it is not to use all the strength, but to gradually increase the fluctuation of killing intent within the range that can be tolerated. Refining the body, adapting, becoming stronger. Hinata Hikaru believes that it won't take long for her to adapt to the current increase in murderous intent. The next morning. The mountain behind the leaves. Hinata raised his head and looked at the morning sun, as if golden light was flashing in his exquisite and clear eyes. Chakra agitated and filled Hinata's body. If a Hyuga clan member looked through it, they would find that there is an extremely powerful chakra flowing in Hyuga's body, bursting out, filling the meridians of the body. Chakra activation is a method of use that is given to ninja students during their school years. The difference between ninjas and ordinary people lies in this, the level of chakra invocation. Hinata Hikaru chuckled strangely, and her floating white figure began to move rapidly. With every punch and every kick, there is a red wave of murderous intent emerging. The result of this terrifying force acting on the air was a crackling sound in the air. Tempered by the fluctuations of killing intent and the demonic ape fist, Hinata's body strength slowly changes, getting stronger all the time. As long as she practices for a period of time, her physical strength will gradually adapt to the enhanced murderous intent gained through trickery. The loud rumbling sound echoed in the valley, stirring up countless birds from time to time. Those who can cultivate such movement through physical training, Hinata Hikaru is probably the first person. If the chapter is wrong, click here to report. Hinata JoJo's Bizarre Konoha Adventure. Author, Chaos Theory. Chapter 346. Unknowingly, the sun rose into the sky and turned from early morning to morning. Hinata didn't stop until the time was almost up. Because today is what Hinata Hikaru and the others call the competition between the branch family and the main family. It won't take long, this leader will be able to reach the end of Chunin. Hinata is very satisfied with the changes in her body. After the competition is over in the past few days, she will prepare to take on a large number of B-level tasks with Namikaze, Minato and Namatsu to adapt to the coordination between her body and the fluctuations of murderous intent. After some exercise, not only did Hinata not feel tired, but she felt full of strength. Hinata walked up to a boulder and punched directly. Killing intent wave rock strike. Boom. There was a roaring sound, and in an instant, the boulder that was hit fell apart. The dissipated vibration waves stirred up strong winds, causing the grass to fall in all directions and even the trees to sway slightly. You're good. A gloomy voice sounded nearby. Konoha Ninja Forward Protector, Shuyunin Vest, the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. Is it Hinata Hinashi? Hinata hesitated for a moment, then rejected the idea the next moment. It was obvious that although the other party looked very similar to the eldest master of the clan, Hinata Hinashi, and could be said to be carved from the same mold, his expression and eyes were completely different. Slightly gloomy eyes, melancholy eyebrows, low and soft tone. All this revealed his true identity, Hinata Hisashi's younger brother. Hinata Hisashi, who looked like a melancholy boy, stood here, his long hair fluttering in the wind. The mansion of the Hyuga clan can't be seen when looking up. Although Hyuga Hisashi was missing on the battlefield during this period, his appearance did not change much during this period. The only thing that can be said to have changed, is probably his gloomy temperament. Hinata Hisashi seems determined to follow the gloomy niche genre. Hinata Hikaru looked at him intently, wondering why Hinata Hisashi appeared here. But then, she thought of something. Hyuga Hisashi, has Elder Yoshitatsu come back with you? Under the entrustment of Hyagahaden, Hyaga Yoshitatsu acted as a nanny, leading the two brothers Hyaga Hichizu and Hyaga Hisashi to be active on the battlefield. It has been about half a year since then. Of course. Hinata Hisashi smiled. The voice is soft and the smile is friendly, but there is always a feeling of depression inside. Separate families. For the Hyaga clan, the number of clan members is always maintained within a certain range to prevent the precious Byakugan from flowing out. And sometimes the extra baby or child, if you are unlucky, you will become a separated family. Such is the case with Hyaga Hisashi. Elder Yoshitatsu is dealing with some things, he will be back from Hokage-sama in a while. Why does Hinata Ryutatsu take care of Hinata Hisashi? Because Hyaga Hisashi is the son of the clan leader. Even if he is a branch family member. But not entirely. More importantly, in the future, Hyaga Hisashi will lead the Hyaga clan to split up. Another purpose of this family competition is for him to successfully become the leader of the branch family. Hinata Hisashi is in charge of the clan family, and Hyaga Hisashi is in charge of the branch family. This is what Hinata Haden, the leader of the Hyaga clan, thinks. But the idea is beautiful, the reality is very skinny. The relationship between the Hyaga clan is complicated, and the clan divisions have deep grievances. To reconcile this, Hyaga Hisashi became the victim. In other words, it is a sign of goodwill to the separation family every day. The patriarch's sons have all become branch families. Those dissatisfied branch families should have some balance in their hearts. Although the seal of the caged bird can restrain the family division, the seal must be formed to activate the curse seal. For a physical arts master, destroying the opponent before forming a seal is an extremely common strategy. According to legend, the swordsman slashes of the Iron Kingdom warriors are so fast that ninjas cannot form seals. This is the reason. If the Hyaga branch really has the idea of harming the clan, it can be realized. After all, the most indispensable thing in this world is ruthless people. I came to inform you. Hinata Hisashi wanted to tell Hinata Hikari not to run around and go back to participate in the family competition. But before Hinata Hisashi could finish speaking, Hinata Hikaru took a deep breath and shouted. Hinata is so beautiful, Hinata Hisashi is harassing my leader. Okay. Hinata, you heartless one. He was almost like a ghost, hiding behind a certain tree. Hinata Mami, who had been following secretly, rushed out and pinched Hinata Hisashi's ears. I won't come back for more than half a year, and when I come back, I'll mess around with my wife. Ouch yo-yo. Hinata Hisashi is also a human being and can feel pain. Before he could react, he was restrained by Hinata Mami. Hinata Hisashi glanced at Hinata Hikaru and found that the latter was laughing strangely. He was convinced. He was still holding a grudge about the embarrassing incident of taking care of Hinata Shui half a year ago. Quack, my leader will take revenge, it's not too late in half a year. Hinata Hikaru is as proud as she is with her little hands on her back. Today's Hyaga clan mansion is obviously much busier than it has been in the past 6 months. The reason is obvious, most of the Hyaga clan members have returned from the battlefield. Excluding the sacrificed, injured, and those still clinging to the front lines, 80% of the Hyaga clan are here. Both clan and branch families are all preparing for today's family competition. The location is the most spacious dojo within the Hyaga clan, which can accommodate hundreds of people. The eldest son of the clan, Hinata Rizu, is extremely talented and possesses the clan's unique skills. He has performed amazingly for several years in a row. I don't know what kind of performance he will have this time. The second son, Hinata Hisashi, is following closely behind his elder brother. I don't know if he can surpass the former this time. The ninja of the clan, Hinata Xiao, has been in the limelight recently. He may be able to threaten the two people in front of him. Hyuigazui learned his shame and became brave. It is said that when he came back this time, he was even ready to apply for special Jounin qualifications. And he is only 13 years old this year. The ninjas of the Hyuga clan were talking and walking towards the dojo. Hinata Hikari flowed in with the crowd. She looked left and right, but found no trace of Hinata Ryaharu. Xiaoguang, come with me. Hinata Chiu motioned for Hinata Hikaru to follow. Hinata Hikari nodded and followed Hinata Hikaru toward the dojo where the family members gathered. As the largest dojo in the Hyuga clan's mansion, its area is naturally not comparable to other dojos. In addition to the largest dojo in the center, there are several small dojos branching out next to it. The branch family that Hinata Hikari belonged to entered the small dojo first. The composition of the Hyuga clan should be one of the most unique clans in the ninja world. The eye-opening rate is as high as 100%, and it is rare to hear of people who cannot open their eyes. In addition, members of the Hyuga clan began training Rokuin when their children were 3 or 4 years old, so it felt like the whole nation was a soldier. The ratio of ninjas to ordinary people is also the highest among all tribes. Only a very few people cannot become ninjas, and such people are rare. At this moment, there are tables and chairs placed in the dojo. In addition to the younger generation of the branch family, there are also some elders of the branch family. The arrival of Hinata's light attracted a lot of people's attention. Because of her resounding name, many tribesmen turned their attention to her. In the eyes of other branch families, it is unusual for Hinata to become a ninja. If the chapter is wrong, click here to report.